Show us. That doesn't really work, does it? Have you tried? Oh, that's good. Oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Better. So much better. What a fantastic, fantastic tune. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Young man, there's no need to feel down. Young man, pick yourself off the ground. I've been Donald Trump. Thank you and good night.
Then what time?
This one's from Jeremy in Wisconsin. And it says, Tuffy brand coffee is the best coffee in the world. Thanks for the grift.
Anyway, I'm going to find out who this quartering character is. And when I do, he's going to get a bit of the old ice troll treatment.
Went from loathing Brie Larson to being the unofficial #1 fan site for Brie Larson.
How about a handshake? You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle, and in return, I'm gonna let you keep your hand.
Hey, there,
Okay.
there it is. I was about 10 seconds behind there. How are
I
you?
think it's just the time change, you know? You haven't quite adjusted back to being on Wisconsin time.
You know what? I see you're doing the best with what you have, but your lighting actually looks pretty good.
Whenever I'm in this place, you like the lighting. I have
Yeah.
to make note for my studio at home.
Yeah, it looks like you aren't a spooky ghost, which I think
Oh,
is
well, I
in
like that
general a good
less.
thing. Yeah, I mean the spooky ghost thing is, yeah, I know that's kind of your brand, but like it looks a little bit better. How
Cool. Well,
how was your
I'll,
travel?
It was pretty good. You know that I'm still kind of on the road for the holiday for Christmas, but it went pretty smooth. You know, I had a blast being at AMFEST with you and Melanie. I'm glad we got to do stuff in person.
Are you sure you weren't wildly uncomfortable? That's what the internet was saying, is that you girls were wildly uncomfortable with
You
me.
have to catch me up on this because I like open X and suddenly there's some kind of like weird drama that I don't understand.
It's
Why were we uncomfortable?
Well, it went from I guess because I watched the football game with Melanie, we were having an affair, obviously. That's
You mean you went to a sports bar with us and a bunch of other people and watched a football game?
that's
It's
right.
crazy.
Yeah, I was also there with a baby. Like there was it was such a weird. I know it's the end of the year, and so like people are grasping for content. People are burnt out on politics. I did a lot of planning on my flight home about how we're going to try to change up our content a little bit in 2026.
Ooh,
like I think we should still cover politics, but like I do think that half of the show should be dedicated more to like other stuff. Just because I think people in general are pretty burnt on politics right now. And it's
politics
almost
so much right now is like code for actual like drama, not actually like it's one thing to talk about like a bill that's coming out and how it could impact you versus like these people are warring on X.
Yeah. I think the whole thing is very weird. And I try to not take I feel bad because I feel very protective of my staff, and like I don't like it when people start like rumors and stuff like this, and
it's just for you too, I assume. Like I don't know.
I don't really give a shit. No. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. You're tough. You're a hardened criminal.
Well, I've been doing this. I've been doing this for so long that like it doesn't really bother me. But it's like, Father Dwarf says Jeremy's a married man grooming a woman around his age and another woman with a husband and a child. Yeah, I mean,
what?
I like that's a sarcastic comment. Like that's they're making they're yeah.
Like I'm no
guys, I know I have a very magnetic personality and body mass, but like I'm good, but I'm not that good. And
I did get a couple people who were like, I just did not realize how tall, like how big Jeremy was. And it wasn't even like a weight thing. Like I was no, he is like an extremely tall man. And like I'm tall, but like I think seeing us all together in real life is kind of funny.
Some of the lineups are funny because like unintentionally it was like Gandalf sitting with the Frodo on like a bench. Yeah, like it was just, and we had it like accidentally from like tallest to smallest, and it was like,
well, and you weren't on when Chloe Cole was on, but she's like a little petite lady. Like I can't imagine if you had been sitting next to her, you would have gotten a hard time, I think.
Yeah, there would be. Would love to hear about hidden video game gems from Jeremy or Melanie. We did talk. Somebody recommended a game to me that they said was better than Oblivion, and I called him a blasphemer to his face, but I'm going to try it. Melanie will probably remember on Tuesday for Astrocast. I can't forget what it was called, but I wanted to download it on my Steam Deck on the way home, but instead I was planning our content for 2026 because I just think
work never stops.
Well, I look at my own analytics and I look at, general comment of, the way X is trending, which you take only kind of a small percentage of it. Mm-hmm. You look at what videos that you're doing that are doing good. And there will always be a time where you're like, hey, maybe this topic's pretty important to me. And I know it's not necessarily going to perform well, but I'm still going to do video. But also there's like, in a world of 100 different topics, maybe I pick the 3 or 4 that people are saying, hey, I'd like to watch this, So people are mad that you watched a football game with your cast and stepdaughter, Melanie Mack. That's correct. They even put out clips and they were like,
yeah, these people don't even know that you're married to Melanie's mom.
I know. That's right. Like, they'd be like, look at how uncomfortable the girls are around him. I'm like, dude, we hung out every night. Everything was like hunky-dory. And you shouldn't have gone out to dinner with a girl without your wife. I'm like, the entire team went out every night.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't like go out solo. Like we moved as like a pack.
Yeah, I mean, the first night it was just me and Melanie, but that's because you guys weren't there yet. Yeah. Then like, but yeah, it was all very funny to watch. Like people were calling me and they're like, dude, did you see this? You should probably tell your wife in case she comes. I'm like, do you think my wife, like we've been together for 20 years. Like, do you think that
I'd be the first one to bail if you were like that? Like, I hate that kind of behavior. And like,
yeah, of course I'm not like that. And, the Jeremy received CBC coffee this weekend, loving it. Great. Yeah. So the whole thing was funny. I was like showing my wife and she's like, people are so dumb. And it's like the concept of
we're literally all there being like, Luke, you're catching a wife this weekend? Like, what's going on?
We're trying to wife up Luke. Yeah.
Everyone is trying to get someone married.
Yeah. I didn't go to any of the parties. I stayed back at my hotel. Like, I was as good of a boy as I could have possibly been. Jeremy, I love you, Borough, but the Bears. That was a heartbreaker. I watched that game with Melanie and a bar full of people, not alone in my hotel room.
I was there for part of it. I was there as long as the baby could make it.
Yeah. We picked a bad restaurant for our last meal. They closed down early. I guess they had like a private event. The service was horrible. And the food was mid, but everywhere else we ate was good. You know,
and you did pick like the most classic, like sports bar, like, you know, I could understand why you went with that one.
If I was,
everything I've heard about the Packers game, you guys were supposed to win, and it was just like that last quarter that was crazy.
We gave up 10 points in like the last 2 minutes and then lost in overtime. It was very, very bad. And then like I had hoped to like sustain on the coping tears of Bears fan all the way home. Instead, the game ended at like maybe 10 or 11. Called my wife. She's like, I know. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to bed.
Did she watch it at home to like?
She's not a sports fan, but she was kind of keeping an eye on it because which I told her I'd call her after the game. And she's like, you just want to go to bed, don't you? I'm like, yeah. So, it's okay. You know, I get into it in the moment. You should at the hotel. So we left because we had to leave, like the restaurant shut down. So we went back to the hotel with Melanie and Sean, actual Justice Warrior, and Tony from Current Revolt. And I don't think they understand. Like, first of all, they don't understand that. Like, when women are sports fans, people think, oh, whatever. Like, poor Sean and Tony. I think they came thinking we were going to hang out, but we were just like locked into the game the whole time. Like,
and I liked it because Melanie is like, you know, I knew that she followed the Steelers. I knew she was a sports fan. She watches with her family, but like, she was locked in, even though she's not like, she's rooting for you, not the Packers. I guess.
She was locked into the Packer game.
A couple different people came and like sat at our table, and we'd be like, Melanie, what's going? She's like, well, this is why it's important. It's got to go over here, and this is why this. Like, she was in it. It was great.
Yeah, and I had like many outbursts, not negative ones, like when Packers had a good play. And the hotel bar was not a sports bar. And then so I was just like, I'm from Wisconsin. And people like, okay. You know, and then a couple Bears fans were lingering around after the loss, which is fine. I can take the heat. But yeah, it was a very weird drama that really, I mean, it didn't really gain any legs, but it was just like, yeah, Jeremy was actually creeping on Luke. But of course, Luke won't come forward because no one will believe him. Yeah, that's true.
They're not creeping on each other. They're fully committed in their bromance.
We're in a relationship. Yeah. I mean, no drama from me and Luke sharing a hotel room the last event. Nobody said we were having any kind of gay love. But
should they have said that?
Well, if they knew any better about Luke. I mean, Luke is going on 40 and single. I'm just saying. People are asking questions.
Confirmed bachelor?
Yeah, confirmed bachelor Luke Rodowski. But he was out on the prowl. He went to the parties. Yeah, he was going to the parties. Hannah Claire was being a mom, and Melanie and I had football games on Thursday and Saturday.
And we worked pretty intensely. Like, I don't know about you, but like I know I have a baby,
even have an affair.
Yeah. Well, do you see how many interviews we guys had? We were like cranking away. Also, we gave away like over 1,000 samples of coffee. I mean, like it was a really fun event, but it was constant once we were there. Yeah,
it was. I learned a lot about. Basically, Hannah Claire got thrust into full-time booker, and like I was like, God, people kept coming up like, talk to Hannah Claire, talk to Hannah Claire, talk to Hannah Claire, and but she did great. The guests were, I mean, basically considering how thrown together it was. Mm-hmm. My only regret was not bringing lights. Should have brought lights because I was kind of sitting in a dark corner over at the end there. Yeah. But everyone got in. My editors did clips for everyone that. Nice. So those will be going up throughout the week. And we had basically everyone on. And Andrew Colvett came by, and we just didn't have time to get him on. But we had Chloe Cole, we had Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, boy, everybody. We had a congressman. I'm sure Tom Tiffany was like, "What is this rinky dink opera?"
Well, and I think also he was running late on the main stage. It came from his main stage performance, and like his press girl who had emailed me being like, "We are late, but we are on our way," and I had to like email her back being like, "It's good." We were about to pull Lectern guy on because I didn't want it to just be us vamping, and I was like, lectern guy, come here. He's right there. And then suddenly this congressman is right by my shoulder. I'm like, okay, go there, put these headphones on. And I thought he did pretty well considering like a little bit of being thrown into the fire.
Yeah. Everybody did good. Everybody, everybody had a good time, I think. No drama, unless Luke was involved in any, but I don't think he was. He was a good boy. He was attending all the parties representing Luke. And it was cool. I mean, I was not prepared for how many people were there. It was bonkers.
What did they say in the end? 31,000?
Yeah, 31,000. And of course, we missed. Everybody knows Hannah Carter's favorite musician is, was it Nicki Minaj? Nicki Minaj? I get them mixed up. I don't know.
Yes, my favorite band is Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, she came out, which I thought was pretty cool because, look, people, of course, were dunking on it. But, like, I mean, this woman sells, like, 50 million records.
I liked it better than when Amber Rose came on the RNC, you know?
And she actually seemed kind of genuine. Like, she seemed like, she has found faith, and she was very supportive of like Trump, addressing the attacks on Christians. Oh, it was Cardi B? No, who was it? I forget. I'm so sorry. Now she's never coming on our show.
What? Nicki Minaj?
It was Nicki?
It was Nicki.
Okay. People were like dunking on that, but it's like, dude, she sells like tens of millions of records. You just want to hate. Like, that's a huge thing to have someone who's, probably has an 80% black fan base coming out and endorsing Trump and America Fest.
Like I thought that was interesting. That part of her message was like, this is for young people, and I think it's going to equip you to be prepared to be confident in the future. Like that's cool that's what she's seeing come out of it. When everyone else in the mainstream media is like, organizations like this only breed young, hateful people. And she's like, no, they're equipping them to be, well-spoken and to challenge narratives that need to be challenged. Like, I thought it was a cool message. Like, despite what Jeremy has told us, I don't actually follow her, but I like that it's someone you wouldn't expect to be there. Although when they were like, this is the big surprise, I liked the Target grandma coming on.
That
stage.
was great.
Like, I thought that was even
great.
Cooler. No shade to Nicki at all. Just like, what a grassroots victory.
Yeah. She was great. The part of the thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit of the infighting. Mm-hmm. I didn't really get that vibe from the show floor. On the outside, people were eating it up, but like everyone there seemed like in excellent spirits, excited to be there. I mean, the breakout sessions where the lines were out the door. Yeah. I mean, I'm not shilling. Like, look, it costs us a lot of money to go to AMFEST. I'm not like shilling for TPOSA. I'm just telling you, I probably took hundreds of selfies with people. I made time to talk to everybody, and like nobody was like, oh, golly gee. Everyone's like, oh, hey, how's it going? I'm so glad to see you. All this kind of stuff.
Like, I know there was a like fight at the James O'Keefe party, kind of like between media people or something. But for the most part, everyone was happy, polite, all kinds of positive. And I think what's interesting is that you and I are both, I think, sort of connected offline. Like, you're involved in a lot of community, like your bowling league. Like, you don't necessarily live in like a total influencer bubble. You are very active on X, but it's balanced, I think, in your personal life. Like, I'm not alive on X, but I have stuff going on outside. And so I liked being able to see kind of like the I don't know, the general population of people who are going to this, because it's so easy to get caught up on like what's being said on the main stage. It was nice to be a part of conversations about what was interesting people as they approached the booth and as they were on the floor.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is my opinion. Well, I guess we'll find out, but like a lot of like the podcaster world is pushing this because they see the end of Mega coming. It is inevitable, right? Like,
it has to.
I think JD Vance will choose a different moniker to kind of thing. And there's a bit of jockeying for audience. And Ben Shapiro kind of represents neocon, pro-Israel Republicans. Tucker kind of represents this new Republican, the America First, but America First has also kind of become a big tent where, like, I agree with probably 95% of what America First stands for, but I'm not obsessed with Israel. So it's like, you know, if I had to pick a side, quote unquote, it would be with the America First people. I just wish they would focus more on all international issues, not specifically Israel, because there's a lot of countries that America is subsidizing, like Ukraine. There are a lot of wars. You know, we're bombing Syria, we get Venezuela. Like, as long as America First can pivot to be more than just criticizing Israel, then I'm in. Like, I'm fine with that, you know?
And I think part of, like, because of the October 7th attack and the, like, flare up of tensions there that's lasted a couple of years. I mean, I know hypothetically there's a peace deal, but it gets violated all the time. I wonder if that will change a little bit because, you know, we're talking a lot about Israel because Israel was in a hot conflict, basically. There are all kinds of countries that I would also be happy to not be involved with. We just don't talk about them as regularly. And so it becomes, I think it's like maybe an overstated focus for America First. You know, it's almost
what
in response
leads
to something else.
It's what leads on X. It leads, like, you know, and people forget that, like, Republicans have been feuding for a very long time. That's what they always do. And generally, when it comes time to vote, it's not like they're going to go vote for a Democrat.
Sure.
What I'm mostly worried about is abstaining. I see a lot of people saying, hey, we're going to abstain from politics for my own reasons. I don't like where this is going. There's a lot of frustration with the Trump administration that I think you can't just always say that everything's a bot. Like, there are people who are pissed at Pam Bondi. There are people who are pissed at Kash Patel. There are people who are pissed at Dan Bongino. And I think Trump really has to address that early in the new year, especially like Pam Bondi, who's, you know, facing impeachment to transition. I have this Tim Dillon story that I want to talk a little bit about, but, like, I'm going to actually use this as a clip, the Tim Dillon thing, to kind of promote our stream on my other channel. So I'm going to, kind of try to record it as a
water before we start then.
Yeah. Just because I want to promote the stream in 2026 bigger. And so I'm going to take some clips that I think will transfer good to, like, my main channel or to my Jeremy Hambley channel, promote them to come watch the live stream, because, you know, I think that 2026 is going to be obviously a very important year. It's going to be a year where there's going to be a lot of jockeying. There's going to be a lot of, you know, fighting, which I think is good. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
But there is some element of it that's toxic that I hope we work through by Christmas, you know?
Yeah. And it's one thing to be like, we are debating what the future of this movement will be. It's another thing to be like, we are trying to cut each other down to control and force an issue through. I don't know. They feel different.
Yeah. Finally, Jeremy talking about what's going on. Yeah. Someone says, we don't care about your channels. Why would you be here then? I don't understand. I think there are people that think genuinely that the live stream maybe is the only thing we do, but I mean,
it's an ecosystem. Like, if you like the live stream, you gotta support the rest of the gang, hopefully.
Yeah.
Gang being the other channels.
Yeah. Well, really, I mean, ultimately, I still think the future of content is short form content and live streams. And so that's really going to be a focus in, you know, really what you get from me in particular now, that's not going away. It just means I'm going to get up an hour earlier a day and make sure I focus on stupid stupid short form content and
He's gonna be a
stuff
TikTok
like that.
star. You're
I've
looking
been
at
working,
the next TikTok dance king.
That's right. I've been working on a couple of different things for TikTok, a different set for TikTok where I stand, and it's like more vertical format, and not just TikTok, but Instagram Reels and X too, and YouTube Shorts.
Platform, I would assume.
Yeah. So it's, you know, it's just, you know, if you want to hang on, you know, I've been doing this a long time. If you want to stay if you want to grow your audience, you can't just keep doing the same thing forever and ever and ever. So
Right.
unfortunately, that means just working more and more and more and more. But that's, that's going to be it. Yeah, I have to talk to the brain rotted. I do. It's part of the, it's easy to
It's his
discount.
ministry, guys. He's got to do
Right.
it.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to discount TikTok as nothing but, degeneracy. I've done it for years, but quite frankly, it just cannot be ignored anymore.
Well, and the audience is there. So, yes, it might be degenerate, but the only way to potentially convert someone over, so to speak, would be to give it non-degenerate content. Now, the algorithm may not reward you, but if this is the industry you're in, I could see why you have to be there. I'm scared of China, so that's why I'm not on TikTok.
I don't have it on my phone. I have a separate phone that has nothing on it. It's running graphene, and my editors will edit
locked
the video.
in a safe that's wrapped in aluminum. You go in there. That's your new set. It's
yeah. Who's your audience? Independents or Republicans? I would say my audience is independents. Probably they're independents that voted for Trump. Even now, when I do a hard video about politics, it doesn't do as good as dunking on some crazy thing that happened at Walmart or something like that. Well,
and I don't know about you, but when I think about the kind of content I would put out there, there is a place for, let's say, monitoring races coming into the midterms. I like that kind of journalism, but also I think people would rather talk about the thematic issues that we're struggling with as a country.
Yeah.
I always feel we get a better conversation when we talk about if you talk about relationships, why do men and women struggle to connect? Or when you talk about infertility, what is going on driving our culture of maybe not having children? That stuff, at least for me, makes me feel I've had a more productive conversation than just being this person's take is so stupid,
yeah. Well, that's part of what I do, but also
I don't know. I mean,
nobody's talking about
yeah.
I mean, I try to add obviously why I think it's stupid, but there's also kind of nobody's talking about the price of groceries right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's still crazy. We're doing, we're coming up to Christmas. More people than ever. There's a new report that you shared with me that most U.S. adults are not making year-end charitable contributions now. And that's not because they don't agree with the charities anymore. It's because they don't have extra money.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple,
in our evolution of understanding spending, people are going into credit card debt to buy their loved ones gifts. It's not that people are not willing to give on a certain level, but I would think that charitable giving is the first thing to go when the dollar's tight, and you can't really give on credit. I mean, I guess technically could make a donation with your credit card.
Maybe, yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I want to focus on next year is real world American problems, real actual shit, and not hey, look at this crazy beat cult theory. Because I think that's going to, that does not connect with real everyday Americans. I think what connects with them is stuff that actually relates. But I do want to talk about one last thing with this. So, and then we're going to talk about actual news, I promised. So Tim Dillon put out a video where it basically is just riding the X algorithm. And if you're seeing this now on the Jeremy Hambley channel, my private channel, this is a clip from my daily live stream, which you can find on Rumble or our live stream channel, which will be linked down below. It's quartering live on YouTube, and it's just the quartering on Rumble. So I hope you'll subscribe and follow. But there's a lot of critique around how people should be grieving, how TPUSA should have handled running an event that was obviously planned long before Charlie Kirk was ever assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kind of the hot takes is hey, I think this is weird. That's a common word. This is weird. This is a weird thing. And Tim Dillon put this out, and I thought I would address it because I feel like a lot of people who are jumping on this train have never grieved in their life and never really understand kind of what love is. But here's what he had to say.
I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear? Okay, so let me fix that. Oh, well, that's because I was trying to record a VOD and, obviously that fell apart immediately. But yeah, this
sorry.
is what you can get. No. That's good.
Part of the fun of the live stream, that the tech always acting up.
Yeah, here we go. So let's go back here.
to go out through a stream of fireworks and sparklers and stand there in a glittering pantsuit and talk about electing J.D. Vance 3 months after your husband was killed. Many people feel that there is something off about that. And we're starting to see that political people are the exact same thing as the Hollywood elites that they all love to dunk on.
There's a kernel of truth, I think, in what he's saying there, that there is a performative aspect to like the talking heads in the space. Like I talked about earlier in the live stream, and I'll reiterate it for this little clip. I do believe that the power struggle going on in the conservative space now is really driven by people are trying to figure out where the audience is going. And so they're staking their claim on, it's like a repitch, because losing Charlie kind of broke up the coalition that he was so clearly holding together. And basically everyone's running out there and they're saying, well, now that you're looking for a new home, this is who I am. And this is who, you know, I don't like Ben Shapiro. I do like Ben Shapiro. Israel bad, Israel good. These are the main core tenets of what people are offering. This person's really mega. This person's not really mega. Follow me. I'm really mega. I think in that aspect, Tim Dillon is 100% correct in saying a lot of these guys only care about clicks. Like that I would agree with. His take on Erica Kirk, I strongly disagree with. I think when you are married to somebody whose entire life was dedicated to this, growing this movement, TPUSA, to think it was quote unquote weird for the woman who knew him best to take the mantle is to completely be very disconnected from what love is and from what Charlie clearly would have wanted. There is 0% of me that believes Charlie would have wanted Erica Kirk to pack up TPUSA and go home. And there's an aspect of me that also believes none of these people have ever actually seen a TPUSA or an AMFEST before. Because AMFEST is this. It's a huge spectacle. They filled an entire stadium. We were talking about this when we were walking in. They like repainted the walls. They did. I mean, they spent millions of dollars putting on this event. To say it is weird that Erica Kirk would be out there trying to carry on her dead husband's legacy is crazy to me. I mean, what do you think, I guess, about the talking heads aspect, and then a lot of people saying how Erica Kirk should and shouldn't act?
Right. My audio's doubling before I
let me get rid of that.
this.
Yep. You should be good now.
There are two arguments here. Like you're saying, there is the conversation about fate of mega and the momentum, etc. But the criticisms of Erica Kirk are interesting to me. Everyone, it reminded me a little bit of when Thomas Massey got remarried about a year or a little bit more than a year after his high school sweetheart, who he had raised children with, had passed away unexpectedly. And people were like, well, I would never get remarried if my spouse passed. Like, that's probably not true, especially if you're Thomas Massey, who's like, I think clearly meant to be a husband. That was a big part of his life. With Erica Kirk, I think about, if you worked in corporate America and you would get 5 days of bereavement leave, and then you would probably have to come back to work. Like, I'm sure there is a part of her that would like to, didn't Jackie Onassis Kennedy take off to Hawaii after her husband died?
Curl up in a ball,
But the other part is Jackie Onassis or Jackie Kennedy was planning her husband's funeral and running her son's birthday party at the same time, literally rooms next door to each other at the White House. I think that the weight of grief is heavy, and there are times that you want the world to stop, but the reality is it doesn't. And she is in a unique position where to take over leadership of her husband's company, so to speak, is to be an even more public facing figure than she already was. I mean, she used to make appearances at the Women's Summit and, at Turning Point and whatever. And now she's at the head of it. I've seen a lot of people analyzing interviews with her where she's saying She talked about how she loved being a stay-at-home mom, and if she loves it so much, why is she stopping doing it? Like she's in a position I think most widows are not. Now, sparkly pantsuit, the pyrotechnics, which Turning Point has always done, like she's a pageant girl. Like there's a certain aesthetic that I may not embrace, but I already wear all black most of the time. It's there are some parts of it that I understand aesthetically. A lot of people may not choose, but they are also not necessarily going to choose any of the lifestyle or aesthetic choices that Erica Kirk has chosen in her life. I don't think it means that she has less grief. And I think to a certain extent, like we shouldn't hold it against her that she had to carry on, and carrying on for her looks different than maybe someone who works in an office job.
Well, one of the things that I have not been able to discern from any of the people who are complaining about how she's carrying herself is what she's supposed to be doing. Everyone is saying, oh, it's weird, or she shouldn't be doing this, or she shouldn't be doing that.
But I feel
what
like
is she supposed to do?
Right. And if she had been like, I'm giving up Turning Point, like let someone else run it and I'm going to stay with the kids and retreat into private life, like maybe people wouldn't like understand, but I think there would have been an equal number of people who've been like, wow, she doesn't care about Charlie's legacy. She doesn't want to be involved in it. Like you can never make the internet happy. Unfortunately, she's just in a position where she has to be on like intense public exposure while making the internet unhappy. Like who am I to say if someone else's grief is valid? I just know that like you and I have both lost our parent, like a parent. Yeah. I think that grief is like an ever evolving thing. And she looked really, I mean, she has cried publicly about it. People attacked her for that. She has continued to work. People have attacked her for that. I'm sure she has spent a lot of time alone with her children, and apparently it's not enough. Like I have to trust that she and her family are handling it however they're supposed to. There's no way it would ever be enough for the internet.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I guess maybe it's because I relate to her. Like when I lost my dad, I worked the same day because I just didn't know what the hell else to do. Mm-hmm. Do I think she should be the de facto CEO of Turning Point USA forever? I don't know. That maybe they need to find I do think they need to find a new person to be on campus and do, like a Matt Walsh type or something like that to be the face of TPUSA on the ground. Maybe there's just this underswelling of people that never liked Erica in the first place, and they're finding this as a way to like criticize her. I don't know the answer. I don't know why people are hiding behind this. I think it's weird nonsense. Like, Tim, why is it weird? Why is it weird that the woman who lost the man she loved deeply, the father of her children, is trying everything she can to carry on his legacy? Why is that weird?
Where is she supposed to be? Like,
right.
Because she would make appearances at Turning Point's events. So it's not like she never did it and now she's here. Like, obviously, she's never had to fill Charlie's shoes exactly before. But, like, is she supposed to be at home? I assume that would be pretty difficult. Like, it seems like they're not really giving her a lot of good options here.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just Tim, by the way. It's,
it's tons of people.
It's Candace who's saying the same stuff. Like, oh, it's so weird. It's the vibe checked. Okay, but tell me what you're supposed to do. If Candace Owens, God forbid, her husband passed away tomorrow, do you think she would get off the internet forever? I doubt it. And
it would be hard to imagine, especially if this is like her job, or like if you feel a sense of vocation or duty in what you're doing. I think that there's like, again, like I said, I feel like there's this misunderstanding with grief, which is like if you lose your spouse or like a parent or something, that you just get to curl up in a ball for 6 months. And I'm like, there are people who have to do that because they are struggling, but a lot of people just have to keep going. I don't know that I would make every choice that Erica Kirk has made, but I don't think it's realistic to expect her to just disappear for 6 to 9 months.
The media tour selling the book probably send someone else to do that. But who? Also, who else is supposed to do that?
And like, if she's like, it's my job to protect Charlie's legacy, like she's not going to send anybody else, like.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's a form of grief, I would assume.
It's all very sad to me that like, look, I don't know. I mean, there's probably about 10 people on the planet that could probably relate to, I mean, look, what's that Christmas story? It's a Wonderful Life. Is that the one? Like, his dad dies and he has to take over the business, and he was supposed to go to
Even though he wants
college.
to go to college. So his brother goes and said, I just watched this when we were in Arizona.
I just saw the play right before we left too.
Aw.
It's like, that's what you do. Like, were people supposed to say, well, why is he taking over his family business? He should be doing what he wants to do. Well, no, that's what he did do.
Right.
And I mean, and like, I just don't understand what she was never going to do anything wrong. I think she did right by TPUSA. Do you think Charlie Kirk would have wanted her to cancel AMFEST?
No.
No, nobody actually thinks that. So what the frick is she supposed to do? Like, she's got to go out there and she's got to put on a brave face and she's got to do this stuff. You may not like it, but it's not weird. And it's not a vibe check thing.
And I would understand more if it's a different conversation. Like, I don't know. And I'm not saying this for me, but if you were saying, I'm not sure Erica Kirk is the right person to lead the organization, to be on these campus tours or whatever, that would be a different conversation than being like, it's weird that she's there. Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if she wasn't there? Who is supposed to be there? And I think that's one of the everyone who's not going through it has an ability to quarterback it. But in reality, like, you don't know what you would do. And I doubt that she, had a clear plan. I know people are all over that.
Well, I know what I would do. I would do exactly what she's doing. Because when you're working,
wear the sparkly pantsuit though? That's the question.
Well, if that was my thing, right? Like,
if you were a pageant girl, like what?
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you without a single hesitating doubt that if my wife had some life's work thing, you better believe I'd be there trying to carry it on, because when you're working, it doesn't hurt anymore. Like, when you're carrying on something the person you loved was passionate about, why the hell do you think all these people start these charities and stuff when somebody dies?
Exactly.
Give them something to do instead of sitting and staring at the wall and being sad.
Right. And Turning Point isn't just like, it is Charlie's work and she talks about his legacy, but like, it's also a company that employs a lot of people. I mean, its survival indicates like if people are going to have jobs, like
thousands of people.
Understand that she has probably been friends with and, had worked with and whatever. Like, I'm sure there is pressure coming from a lot of different angles when it comes to the survival of Turning Point. Yes, the politics and the cultural impact, but like also it's literally a business that employs people she's probably friends with. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think I want to talk about other stuff than just that. So we'll leave it there. By the way, so if you watch this segment,
in the sparkly pantsuit, I want you guys to know that.
Well, it would be like me if I come out wearing like a suit or whatever. No, I'd be wearing one of my plaid shirts and, or a color match hat and hoodie. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Like, I just don't. I don't understand. I don't know Erica. I don't know. Maybe she's super unlikable. I don't know. But it sure seems like when you have 35,000 people liking a tweet saying it's just weird that she was doing her job, all that tells me is you've never lost anybody. If you worked at a
corporate office, you'd get like a week off for bereavement.
Yeah, and you would have to go back to work. Like that's just the reality of it. And it just so happens her job is an extremely public facing, face of an organization that is under fire for really no reason. Yeah. I mean, what was wrong with TPUSA for the last 10 years? Nothing.
Well, people have had criticisms of Turning Point, but like, it's different than being like, this widow isn't acting right. Like,
yeah, fair.
I feel like it's a weird criticism to be like, she should be doing something, even though we can't tell you what, we just don't like the vibe. Like, did you want her to come out in all black? Was that the issue? Was it the clothing? Was it the fireworks?
Because then they would say, oh, she's fake sad. She's fake crying. It's just there's no pleasing these people. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all very weird. I will say my experience at AMFEST was extremely positive. I don't know if I'd go back without more help because it was very stressful. Like
intense.
Yeah. Setting everything up every day, tearing it down every day, shipping stuff out there. And then also being the host. Like,
yeah.
I noticed something. And basically nobody set up their own booth. I was the only guy there setting up my own booth. Mm-hmm. Everyone else had a crew of Mexicans. Like, actually, I shouldn't say that. The OMG guys had a crew. I shouldn't say that. James O'Keefe's team was there, but it wasn't James O'Keefe setting it up. I'll say that. And it wasn't James O'Keefe taking it down either. So it's all very weird. But what do you make of the Pam Bondi story now, where we have Massey and Rowe, right, who are both talking about bringing up articles of impeachment.
And they led the charge to get the documents released. I mean, so this has been a bipartisan effort. Ro Khan's a Democrat from California. Obviously, Massey is a Republican. I find it refreshing. This sounds weird that they are like still in lockstep. They're keeping this unified bipartisan front, being like, you didn't deliver. You were supposed to. We are now going to go after intentional. What is the word I'm looking for here?
Don't look for me. I can't help it.
Oh my gosh. This is just the worst. Contempt. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's interesting to me. I don't know that it'll go anywhere. I don't know that this is like, and Pam Bondi's gone. But I think this is a good faith effort to be like, we are fighting for something people want, the release of the Epstein files. You did not deliver. And now we are going to pursue whatever punitive actions we are able to. Ro Khan released a second tweet, like spelling out specifically what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's kind of refreshing, right? Like instead of it being about like, how can I score points for my political party? And it's not that this couldn't be that too. It does seem like it is about holding other branches of government accountable.
Yeah, I support it. I mean, I think they also they tried to cover up a picture of Trump and it wasn't even a bad picture, but the fact that they covered it up, I'm like, oh, just release it. We all know Trump knew Epstein. Okay. Unless he's diddling a kid, you had no reason to, I mean, they should have released it anyway, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
well,
why did you redact that?
Was saying, right?
I got you.
She was saying like, I think that they should release it because I don't think it'll harm Trump. And this was back when Republicans were like, no, we can't do this, like a couple months ago, because that's how quickly these things evolve. I think this, like, we are protecting victims. We talked a little about AMFEST. Like, they're like, oh, we're protecting victims. And it's like, so are you including people that are your friends who you think could be victimized? Like, yes. How are we defining this?
And it flies directly in the actual, like, what Pam Bondi did is illegal. Now we're basically going to spend like the next 8 months arguing who is and who isn't a victim instead of just releasing it and moving on, which is going to hurt the Republicans. It's
what Trump was like. Isn't he tired of this being the main headline? It just got a bunch of new life breathed into it because they didn't give them anything. Or they turned over. Wasn't one of the documents like 100 pages long and completely redacted? Yeah.
I mean, it's just complete and utter usefulness. Like, just release it, okay? Oh, Trump had a picture in girls in swimsuits. Okay, were they 18? Don't care. Was he sleeping with them? Don't care. And by them doing this weird, like, cover-up, and by the way, I don't believe that Pam Bondi is the one that's making the final call on these redactions, just so we're clear. It's somebody above her. And unfortunately, by not releasing them unredacted, they are in violation of this, like, Epstein Files Release Act or whatever it's called, Transparency Act. They're talking about fining her every day. I think they should do it. Or Pam Bondi should just step down and be like, hey, look, I can't control this. I'm out. Like, it looks bad.
Do you think Pam Bondi will step down? Because they're already, like, if you look on their X feed and on their, like, if you go to the website and look at press releases, like, they're already starting to be like, hey, we're doing what's reasonable. They're battling back.
Yeah, they're trying to cover it up. Here's what I think. Trump has one move right now, and that is to fire Pam Bondi. If he fires Pam Bondi, he can pass the buck on to her and be like, we'll work on blah, 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 blah. If he doesn't fire her, then this poop gets on his shoe. Like, it's all going to come back to Trump. So if Trump fires her and says, hey, this is not what I wanted. I wanted transparency. You're in violation of that. He can at least get a little bit of the stink off him. If he just lets her flail, it's just going to get stuck to him. Like you
Right.
he has to fire her.
I mean,
There's
I
just
think
no other way he can get out of this.
he wanted to leave this in 2025, you know?
Yes.
And if they're constantly saying, like they said this when I was at the Pentagon, the White House is always saying this, that they're like transparent, they're for transparency, they're the most transparent, whatever. Like to
They
then
literally tweeted that out. They released the ridiculous redactions.
right, like to be like we're transparent, we're better than everyone else, and then here is a block of redacted text in every document. Like you are looking hypocritical. And so it's one thing, like I think you're right. And it's not necessarily even like a criticism of Pam Bondi. It's just like if you don't change the figurehead or the person associated with this mess, then it looks like you are just lying through your teeth. You have to kind of break it somewhere and say like, okay, we don't think this is being handled well. We as the Trump administration want to change the narrative. But now it's just going to drag on. Like this is just going to roll into midterms, which I don't want. And part of it is it does undercut the purpose of this. Like people want answers for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. They want to protect minors. They want to make sure there's no one else in elite positions who are able to traffic children or you know, additionally, all of the other allegations. So it becomes about political drama instead of about what all of this began with way back in the day when people started asking for these documents, not just during the last election cycle, but years ago.
Yeah, exactly. This is just kind of this is kind of what comes with being the CEO. It's like, you're the boss, you're the head of the DOJ. I mean, whether or not, and I do believe somebody from like above her pay grade was like, here's what you're going to release.
Well, who is above her? I mean, she's the cabinet member, right?
Well, Donald Trump, the CIA, I mean, the deep state, you know, all this kind of stuff. So
Do you think Donald Trump is trying to get her to redact it?
I think that somebody, yes, I do. I do think that. I think ultimately you have to have the buck stops with me kind of mentality. And, you know, I think Donald Trump may be trying to protect people on both sides. It's obviously he's not going through it and blacking stuff out, but I think that there was basically an order that was like release as little as possible. Mm-hmm. And because she's the DOJ, if Trump doesn't want this to stick on him in 2026, he has to let it rip. He has to say, look, by the way, he should probably cut Kash Patel too. Like, people are not happy with what Kash Patel is doing. You know, the other one that's close to the chopping block is Ice Barbie. Like, we need to get these deportation numbers up, but people aren't as loud about that right now.
Yeah.
People are loud about the Epstein files. Get rid of
and
it.
Kristi Noem's been able, that's deportation Barbie for those of you who don't know. Kristi Noem's been able to get a couple wins in recently, like ending some of the diversity law visas and things like that. Like there are some wins coming in there. Is this as effective as we would like it to be? I don't know. Should we have accomplished more? Probably. But she's like scraping by, whereas the DOJ is really struggling. Yeah.
If I were Trump and there wasn't like imminent World War III, you know, he's got, at this point, he's just got to let it rip. And he probably still has to fire Pam Bondi. I'm just thinking like a ruthless boss would. Like, maybe she got handed the thing and said, this is what you're going to release, and you're going to put a smile on your face, and you're going to go on Fox News. That's honestly what I believe happened. I don't believe that Pam Bondi was making the decisions on what to and what not to redact. I just don't believe that. Especially after we know the story about, the FBI got, millions of dollars in overtime to redact stuff. And like, Kash Patel's a part of that too. Yes, you have the shit on your shoe of having to fire somebody that you hired, and the Democrats will run, oh my God, mega's in chaos, everyone's out. But your base will be happy. Your base, I don't think the base likes Pam Bondi. I don't think the base likes Kash Patel. The base did like Dan Bongino for about a week. Then when he came out and said, there's no there, they shut down, I think Kash Patel shut down the investigation and any kind of foreign influence into Thomas Matthew Crooks and his assassination stuff. Trump just has to say, hey guys, I love you guys, but you're gone. This is the way this works. And
I appreciate that Trump generally is pretty loyal. Like
Yeah.
everyone talks about, and like obviously he was
To a
was
fault,
The
but
Apprentice, You're fired. Like that was his famous thing. And there was a fair amount of turnover in his last administration, but it does seem like he doesn't like to pull people out prematurely. And I find that to be interesting. It does shut up. You're fired. I think there is like this loyalty streak. Like when he was defending Bondi and you were like, dude, stop. She's the worst. He just kept going. And so like, while I think maybe a little over a year in, it's time to do a personnel review. I don't think it necessarily has to be like, because we hate them, just being like, look, we got to change things up. Something isn't working.
Yeah. You don't have to bury them on the way out.
You don't have to be your enemy to be like, hey, something's going on. We are not getting the making progress the way we should, or something is becoming a distraction.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to Morgan and Morgan Quick, and we'll be back about this DHS story. Accident or injured in any way, you should know how to protect your rights. That's why I'm so glad to have this video sponsor Morgan and Morgan. When you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions of dollars. Morgan & Morgan doesn't settle for lowball offers. Just in the past couple of months, Morgan & Morgan saw verdicts of $12 million in Florida, 34 times the highest insurance offer, $26 million in Philadelphia, 40 times the highest insurance offer, and $6.8 million in New York, 25 times the highest insurance offer. Their fee is absolutely free unless you win. Fighting big companies takes a big law firm. As America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan are ready to take on insurance companies of all sizes. Morgan & Morgan has modernized the injury law process so you can submit a claim and communicate with your legal team all from your smartphone. And remember, size matters. Morgan & Morgan is big. They're America's largest injury law firm. That means they have the resources to fight to get you the best results, and they're capable of spending millions on a case to see it through. Did you know you can start a claim with America's largest injury law firm in just one click? It's so easy. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan at www.forthepeople.com/quartering or click the link in the description down below. All right.
That Morgan & Morgan ad. I remember at AMFEST, you were like, I'm not sure the audio played.
Yeah. I don't know. I have some reads to make up for them, I think. But I want to shout out to GMG, who gifted 5 users Rumble Premium. Very cool. Joma says, what is Dan going to say on a show? Nothing. What can he say? He's not going to be able to say nothing. And I don't think he's formally said he's coming back. I don't know if that's true.
I think that's the assumption. But it's kind of funny because with another member...
That's going to be good for us. I hope he does come back.
Well, and like with a different member of the administration, we'd be like, oh, the book is coming. But he is already a podcaster. Like he's already in this particular space with independent media. So if he was going to make a statement, I assume it would be on his own show if he can say anything.
Yeah, Bystanderson says, gee, don't talk to us degenerate. Don't talk down to us degenerates or anything. I'm not sure who that's referring to. I don't think not
probably
to us.
Me, because I'm, the web.
No, I don't think that. I don't think it was. Bystanderson says W Candace, W Fentanyl, and W Adam Green. I don't know who Adam Green is. Is that the guy that put on the America First hat in Florida?
I don't know either.
PJ Schrader says, watching football with friends is cheating. Like a faithful gentleman, I watched the game alone and high-five myself when the Iceman, Caleb Williams, threw the game winner. Yeah. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Okay, the thing is, when we were at this bar full of people and I watched Jeremy stare at the screen waiting for this game, I was like, do you normally watch the game with other people? And he's like, no, I sit completely alone. And then my wife will come down and check on me and then I'll come up in a couple hours. Like, that was you making an effort to be social with us. Like you would have rather been alone, I think.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But I was just trying to, be out. Rum stock price is $7. So unlikely verified he's coming back. Yeah, I want to be, this is not investment advice. But I would imagine if he came back, we would see it. If there were any kind of leaks, that stock would shoot up because the guy used to have 200,000 live concurrents. And like, even when us downhill from him, we would have 30,000 left hanging out watching us. So yeah, come back to podcasting, Dan. I'm disappointed that you weren't able to get things done, but I also am a realist. And I feel like I think he got there and he just couldn't do what he wanted to do. I don't think that he was quote unquote bought off. I think he got in figured out pretty quickly he wasn't going to be able to do diddly dick and quit. I think he quit 6 months ago when he did that. Like, I'm taking Friday off to reconsider. I'm pretty sure if you go back to my stream, I called it that day. I said, he's done. Like, he's done. There's no way.
You've been saying he wasn't going to like last all 4 years.
I said he wasn't going to make
sure.
it. I called that. I said he wasn't going to make it till Christmas. Like, he's out. And I don't know. You know, the swamp is just too deep for him, maybe. It's difficult to say. But, you know, I don't hate the guy. I selfishly, you know, it'd be great for our show if he came back. But I don't know if anybody can really... they did find the pipe bomber, allegedly, who, you know, it definitely wasn't the CIA chick. It was a brony, a black brony, because, you know, those guys are everywhere.
If you met a person who was like, yeah, I'm a brony, like, wouldn't you just know to run in the opposite direction?
I know bronies, and I don't have any problem with it.
Okay. I don't know, man.
I have more of like what happened to you vibe, as opposed to like this person's automatically like a degenerate, you know. But that's probably because I grew up in the
be careful,
world.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't let them babysit my kids. But like, you know, I'm not worried about them.
Imagine
I'm less worried about them stabbing me than a
and you find out their
leftist.
teacher is a brony. That'd be horrifying.
I would change this. Yeah, they would be out of that class. That would be true. So DHS, in an effort now to, there's a lot of people that don't like that we're paying for self-deportations, but it's actually smart. I wish they should do 20,000 because it costs way more to
it costs
deport
about
them.
just over 17,000 to
Okay.
deport an illegal immigrant. So I wouldn't do 20,000, but it was interesting to start considering like if this is the best way to go. Now, if you deport an illegal immigrant, they cannot ever be readmitted to the U.S. legally. They obviously could sneak across the border again, but you know, they wouldn't have a path to legal residency or to visit or whatever.
No.
With self-deportations, hypothetically, that the legal route is still open to them. So it would hypothetically be the more compassionate way, like let them leave on their own terms. In this case, they get 3 times more than the Trump administration was originally offering.
Yeah,
and then
give them 10. 10,000 to give them 10 back,
like,
10 grand to go
I
back to
think I cap
Guatemala.
it maybe 5. I'm not even totally sure I'm on board with this right now, but it is interesting that this is less expensive for the taxpayers than deporting them.
That's purely where my position is. Like, this is purely a money thing. And if it costs 20,000 if it costs 17,000 and we could offer them 20,000, we kept stepping it up. And it's like when you're on a flight that's overbooked. If they kept stepping it up and up and up and up, like I wouldn't care, because at the end of the day, they're leaving. And, you know, I just don't care.
I think I'd do 20,000 if we were then like, but you can't come back.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to spend more than it costs to deport them and guarantee they have no legal access, then we have to like also take away the legal access, in my opinion.
Fair. I'm fine. But like, if it got them out of the country, like faster, I don't.
Think there's been over
That's still a win.
1 million people who have deported this year, according to Homeland Security.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a scheme that is working. Should we do more? Probably. But it's not nothing. This is something that is effective. And that was one of the things I wondered about in the beginning, which is like, if it was $1,000, if it's $3,000, like, would it be enough to get people to leave?
Well, $1,000 seemed like to me that would never be enough, but it's already worked.
Yeah. And so will we see a sharp spike, you know, with this 3,000? I don't know.
I mean, taking 10 grand to go back to Bumblefuck, you know, that's...
You take $10,000 to go back, you're a king in some places, you know?
Well, you're set up pretty good. I mean, at least you can get a place to stay and move back. Versus, like you said, fear of... Now, if you don't take it and you get deported, you can never come back. So, you know, there's that aspect to it. I also want to talk about this. Trump removing nearly 30 career diplomats from ambassadorial positions. What do you think that's about? Is it more about like, hey, these guys are Democrats and I want them out?
Yeah.
I mean,
so the people who have been removed, it's like AP confirmed 29 countries, and it's a mix. Like it's mostly Africa. You can see in this kind of blurb right here. It's mostly African countries.
Yeah, Burundi,
Asia,
Cameroon. Yeah.
They are they are, from the reporting I've read, all people who were appointed by Biden who weren't initially removed during the first purge. Now that makes sense to me. It's difficult to like find enough people. I mean, it takes time. So you would
who even wants that job? You know
well,
what I mean? Like,
remove and swap from countries that you want to put, more in line with the Trump administration's agenda sooner, right? Like maybe Rwanda was not a big concern during the first 100 days. But ultimately, it does seem like Trump is trying to weed out maybe people who are not working with his administration that are left in the ambassadorial corps. The other thing that they noted is like they're not like being fired for the most part. Like the people who are being removed are being offered other jobs. So it's not exactly a Doge move. It's not like he's like ambassadorship's done. We're still going to have ambassadors in these countries that when they're reappointed by Trump. And these people who are coming back to the U.S. will have employment somewhere else. But I found it interesting because we talk a lot about America First, but we also talk a lot about like entrenched corruption and the bureaucrats that have stayed on. And if you have new ambassadors that are appointed by Trump, you will probably also have new staff. And that is often what is part of the like ongoing corruption or resistance to maybe a more conservative agenda.
Yeah, I think of the big names in here, I guess Egypt is probably one. That's it. I mean, otherwise,
Egypt, Nepal is interesting for like some reasons, but not all of them. Guatemala is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But
Suriname,
you can see with like Africa, like Uganda is maybe the big one right now because of the conversations we're having about all kinds of things. But it's not necessarily like, I don't know. I don't think Madagascar is shaking in its boots. It's not shocked about any of this.
Yeah. What do you make of the last topic I wanted to cover today is most United States adults are not making year-end charitable contributions. New AP NORC poll finds. So this says fewer donations plans for the end of the year. 46 say they've already planned. 18% say I've donated. I plan to donate again before the end of the year. I haven't donated yet, but plan to. And then 30% says I haven't donated and don't plan to. Now, this is not very super helpful because it's not showing me year over year. I was trying to see, is there year over year in this article?
It mentions, I think Texas is year over year. If you scroll down.
Okay. Texas architect. We're doing our own thing. He said, I don't do Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Dietrich estimates that a household donated somewhere between $500 and $2,500 to the DFW area. Couple mostly contributes to organizations that have touched the lives of those of their friends, or those who should donate for, by the way. Giving plans went unaffected by federal funding cuts or shutdowns. I think this is a sign of like, hey, Trump's got to work on groceries. Yeah. Trump's really got to work on groceries. That's one that really affects every American. I don't think the tariffs have been as bad as people really think. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies have actually used this as an opportunity to keep their prices the same and capture more market. We've seen this in like the construction industry. There was a video where this guy was talking about scaffolding that he buys. And he's like, I used to buy they were like, well, we always bought this kind of scaffolding because it was more affordable. But the Cadillac of scaffolding is made in like Iowa or something like that. But because of the tariffs, the company in Iowa kept their prices the same. And now they're just buying the Cadillac brand, like the really nice stuff, at the same price as the garbage stuff. And like the workers on site are happy. Like, oh, this stuff's much better. And I just don't know, like, how much of the tariffs are affecting the grocery store. But that's a big one that he's got to work on quick.
It's interesting because it's like obviously you and I thought the same thing, which is like if cost of living is so high, one of the first things you might cut from your budget is the donation. I also wondered if it's sort of a comment in our culture, like people
that could be.
Don't think about it. I mean, like you talked about like making donations to the
Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots. Thank you. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I left my brain in Arizona, but maybe some of our practice of being like, and each year I want to make sure that I have donated, I have given to charity, or I've given somewhere is kind of slipping away. I mean, we talk about how young people aren't particularly financially literate. We don't really train them to be. It's a
Yeah.
struggle. It's kind of a
And
shock.
it's not just young people now. It's young
No.
people for the last, 40
Forever,
years.
but I think it's just compounding because it's like if every generation is slightly less financially literate,
Yeah.
they don't
Well,
really
there's
have
more
anything
ways
pass
to take
on.
advantage of it now.
Yes,
With
true.
this like buy now, pay later stuff that
Right.
you used to have
And
to
I-
sign up, go to pay
Yeah,
the
I
wrong
mean,
place.
it must
Now you
be
do it on
hard
your phone.
to do. It makes me wonder, like if you grow up in a lot of people who grow up religiously, like Christian, their church, part of it is like you tithe to the church, and that can
Mhm.
then be like applied to like you might give to your church, you might also give to your local soup kitchen, maybe you give back to like your school or whatever it is. If people aren't thinking about that at all, they get to the end of the year and they're like, but I don't have anything left to donate. Between cost of living and just it not being part of our cultural habit, will we see this decline in charity?
Yeah. I mean, I think we will.
Which is hard when you get to like the libertarian argument, because so often it's like the government is doing something private charities could do. So then it's like, okay, so if you have to pay a certain amount of taxes every year, you can't maybe find a way to give as easily or whatever.
Well, property taxes, everybody knows two things happened at the end of this year. Our property taxes went up and our health insurance went up.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you're like, well, I need like my property taxes went up like $2,000 year over year. My insurance went up like, I forget what it was, a couple $100 every month.
Mhm.
So that's $4,000, $5,000 that I will not have,
Mhm. So you can't spend it recreationally. You also couldn't give it to anybody.
Yeah, and as a percentage that hit everybody.
Mhm.
I don't know anybody's health insurance that went down. I don't know anybody's property taxes that went down. These are the things that kind of like we always kind of save up a little bit for the end of the year bomb, where it's like property taxes are due January 31st. Health insurance is going to go up. We pay our health insurance every 6 months so that we can save a little bit of money. And it's just like, well, that's $4,000 that I definitely can't give to Toys for Tots now.
Yeah.
And certainly earnings have not gone up either.
Yeah.
Modest Rat says, hey crew, have you heard of the Fent Freud biopic coming out titled Daddy Changed the World? Why do they insist on making Floyd a saint? I have not heard of that. I am not surprised by that.
Should we watch it? Should we give it a review?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you this: George Floyd did not change the world. He's just another drug addict that died.
Also, wasn't he like not really involved in his daughter's life?
No,
like
no, he wasn't. He was a piece of shit, and he's dead. If anything, the people in his community probably have a better life now that he's gone. You could take that, you can clip that. Like, there's no, and all that happened after he died was billions of dollars in damage across America, massive fundraising scams like BLM, which we now know is
a more
basically totally
divided
corrupt.
population. Like
Yeah.
the legacy left over is not good.
Yeah. Race relations have never been worse since George Floyd died. So thanks, St. Floyd. Like, thanks for using a counterfeit $20 bill and overdosing on fentanyl. The country is more divided than ever. Like that's just, I mean, it's.
It also makes me think that like they have to release the documentary now because they feel like people have actually come around to that realization, you know?
Yeah.
For a while, you couldn't criticize him without everyone freaking out at you. And now, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the whole thing is very weird. We also had this other story about Rob Reiner's daughter now saying she lived in fear of her brother, Nick. Apparently this guy was a violent, I think, like we talked about this, I think.
There was a report recently that he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and had been on new medication that wasn't working. I thought this was kind of interesting that like the sister who, you know, God bless her, she apparently found her parents' bodies. That must have been horrible. That must have been traumatizing. You know, that
she's the one that knew it was the brother too, right? She's the one who told
police to look for the brother. I think it's interesting that there's some reporting, like, you know, someone who knows her is saying that even when he was a young child, before the drug addiction started, there were behavioral issues, that she avoided him, that there were concerns about his behavior from a very young age. I think we'll see an insanity defense for sure in this case.
Yeah, they'll blame it on the drugs, because
I think
actually is a real side
what
effect.
You're seeing here is that they're going to say he had underlying psychological issues from childhood.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to go to jail forever. There was this rumor that he got passed around as a kid, I don't know where that originated, and I don't want to breathe a lot of life into it because I have, but people have said that.
And it might come up, like I said, if they're going to establish an insanity defense that was like, yes, he is a drug addict and he struggled, but he's had mental health issues since he was like 8, like a young child.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come out and he'll be like, I was abused in some way or whatever. Like this trial will be interesting. And I feel bad about this because it's like, it must be so painful for the 2 surviving siblings, but it's going, I think, to expose a lot of like potentially the Reiner family dynamic. If his defense goes forward with an not guilty by reason of mental insanity.
Well, they lost their brother and their parents.
Yeah.
You know, and like this is still kind of the biggest story in media, you know, like it's still like in the main page on the Daily Mail. Oh, look at this, you know, Rob Reiner clip. And I mean, I didn't grow
went
up
from being like everyone is mourning this, you know, prolific director, producer, actor, whatever, to being like, wow, this person a lot of people are very familiar with was brutally attacked, and it looks like, you know, allegedly by his own child.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a car crash. You can't take your eyes off of it.
Now, Bill Clinton has come out to demand all Epstein files be released by the DOJ.
Stop.
As victims claim thousands more pictures are still being held from the public.
Oh my gosh. What a headline. Somebody should frame that, you know?
So now Bill
Clinton is saying this should come out. What does that say about what's going on in the world?
He feels extremely comfortable. I would say like he feels extremely comfortable with what may or may not be in those files. Maybe he was told. At this point, just release them. I've been saying like, look, put a dot over their face and release everything. That's their only move. It's been their only move. The fact that they're not doing it just doesn't look good for them. Not good for them.
And it's bad for 2026, you know? And I'm not just talking about midterms. Like, if there's anything you care about issue-wise, this is going to trump it. So if you care about some sort of piece of legislation or a Supreme Court case, like, this is going to be the dominant conversation if the Trump administration can't get its hands around it. Yeah,
I agree. So with that, we're going to kick it over to Viva Fry. He's streaming, I think, from Canada Stan.
Whoa, is he abroad?
Yeah, I think he's abroad. I'm not totally sure, but we'll be back tomorrow with Astrocast, and then Wednesday I'm going to give everyone off. That's obviously Christmas Eve.
Yay.
I'll probably stream for a little bit, and Thursday everyone's off for Christmas Day. I'll have the Yule log going. I'll be in the chat. Friday I'll probably give everyone off too, so then it'll just be a Lone Wolf Cast Friday, and then work as usual for New Year's Eve week, except for New Year's Eve day. Or New Year's Day, I'll give everyone off too. So
look at this generous Santa.
Yeah. Well, it's just so I can, you know, pursue my romantic relationships with everybody. All right. So, all right, guys, go say hi to Viva, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, all.
Bye.
Let's go.